What's up, adventurers? My name is Platinum Phoenix, and welcome back to Ocarina of Time. Last time, we conquered the Shadow Temple and added Impa's power to our own. And this time, we are going to be heading towards the final temple. But as we run out of the graveyard here, I need to bring up that this is the first, and I think the only time when we defeat a temple boss, and the surrounding area just doesn't go back to being normal. Like when we defeated Morpha, Lake Hylia refilled, or when we defeated Vivaki in the Fire Temple, the ring around Death Mountain became peaceful again. But here it's just gloomy and still like ghost filled or Poe filled, and it's like thundering and lightning, and it's just really weird that nothing has changed. Especially when you take it to the effect that Kakariko Village is nice and sunny. It's, like I said, it's super weird. And it almost makes me feel like they forgot to put in like a cutscene or something to make the skies nice and sunny again after defeating Bongo Bongo. Because, like, if we stop here and look, it's just nice and sunny here in Kakariko Village, even though we were just in a place where it was thundering and lightning like 30 seconds ago. But with that being said, we are basically done with everywhere we have been as Child Link. And in fact, if I pull up the map, you can see that there are two glowing dots, or flashing dots, and that is our next location, which is Gerudo Valley. The way I wanted to order the temples in this LP is I wanted to show everything we could do in order of how Child Link would have went around. And he would have, I think Link in his mentality would have went around Hyrule trying to protect his friends before heading to Gerudo Valley. Mostly because if you try to go to Gerudo Valley as a child, they actually just straight up kick you out. Mostly because the Gerudos do not like males, but also because we are told that the leader of the Gerudo is Ganondorf, and Ganondorf does not like anyone else going into his domain of sorts. So I also think heading to Gerudo Valley now that we have completed all of the other temples and saved all of the other regions of Hyrule is really thematic. But now that we are in Gerudo Valley, I actually want to stop right here. We were here a couple of episodes ago to do the quest for the Bigoron sword, and I mentioned there's actually a couple of ways to get across this bridge. And in that episode, I said that the easiest way is just getting Epona, because getting Epona is super easy, and you can use Epona to jump back and forth across this bridge. But after you defeat the Water Temple, you can actually just use your long shot and hook onto these wooden poles and just kind of sling yourself across the bridge back and forth. But what we want to do next is actually just talk to this guy. Hey, you! If you're going to the fortress, would you mind finding out what my workers are doing over there? So, that is our main objective for this episode. That guy said that him and the Carpenters were working on the bridge, but his Carpenters kind of abandoned him to head to the fortress because of the Gerudo thieves. So our main objective is just to figure out what happened to them and see if the Carpenters are okay. This place just seems so dead at night. During the day, it has like all the guitars and everything. It sounds really cool, but it just sounds like nothing is happening, and almost like a barren wasteland during the night, which I think is really cool. But this is probably one of the most irritating sections of the game for me, mostly because this is an entire stealth section, and again, like I've said, probably a couple of times before at this point, we have no stealth mechanics. So we have to sneak around and kind of play spy without any way of actually sneaking. But my best piece of advice for you for the beginning of this stealth section is to, straight up get caught. Halt! Stay where you are! Stupid kid. Get in there and keep quiet. So, the reason I recommend getting caught right at the beginning of this is, one, they put you in this box over in the far side of the Gerudo Valley, so you don't have to sneak past all of the guards to get here. And two, they don't take anything away from you, kind of like the guards at Hyrule Castle as a child. So you could just look up with your long shot and get out of here like this. For reference, right over there is where we were caught. So we were put pretty far away from the beginning of the Gerudo Valley. But if we go into this corner and pull out the long shot, you can see there's a treasure chest over there that looks like we can't reach it. But if we shoot it while standing in this corner, we can just barely reach this treasure chest and are able to open it very quickly when you would have to do a lot to actually get up here later. And inside of this treasure chest is a piece of heart, bringing us up to 1 of 4 for the next heart container. And next up, we want to just hop down here, and I actually want to switch over to my bow to show that if we take out our bow and shoot the Gerudo guards, you can just knock them out and be pretty safe. This is the one method that makes this stealth section a stealth section. Because if you couldn't knock out the guards, it would be even more irritating and maybe impossible, honestly. But like I said before, our main objective is to find the Carpenters, and this is the first one. Hey, you, young man over there, look over here, inside the cell. I have no idea where you came from, but you must have a lot of guts to get past all the guards around here. All of my fellow Carpenters are in prison somewhere in here. If you can get us out of here, we'll repay the favor somehow. But be careful, there's sure to be Gerudo guards somewhere around here. Whoa, watch out! And on cue, the Gerudo guards appear. But like I was saying, our main objective is to find the Carpenters. So I am going to be showing the most direct path in order to get to each of the Carpenters, mostly because there's an item later that makes it a lot easier to explore the Gerudo Fortress. So I am not going to spend a lot of time trying to sneak around when we could just get that item and make it a lot easier. Did you come here to save me? Oh, that's just swell. I'm Ichiro, the Carpenter. We were really interested in joining their all-female group, but they locked us up like this just because we're men. We don't care about the Gerudo anymore. They're so rude. 3 of my fellows have also been captured, so please help them escape too. And just like that, he has a nice jaunt out of the fortress. Actually, speaking about that, how does he escape? Because I'm assuming they actually did take his weapons / tools, so he would have no way of actually knocking out the guards in order to get around so he could escape from the Gerudo guards. So wouldn't he just get captured again after, leaving his cell and leaving the building right into one of the guards that are standing right outside? It's something that I've always thought about, but there's no explanation for it, and I just find it really funny. But now I want to actually talk about the Gerudo guards a little bit, because as you can see, I'm kind of just brute forcing it, but there is a method to fight them if you want to make it a little bit easier. And it's actually the Deku Seed, or Deku Nut. Basically, if you target them and stand back far enough, they will go into a stance of when they're about to attack. And when they do that, you can throw a Deku Nut at them, and that will actually stun them, allowing you to do jump slashes, making it so you can actually fight them the correct way, instead of just doing a bunch of stabs like I'm doing. You're a fine lad. Thank you for coming to save me. I'm Jiro the Carpenter. These women are so scary. I'd rather work as a carpenter than join them. I can't wait to say goodbye to this place. Two of my buddies are still being held prisoner. Will you please get them out too? So, I mentioned how he would definitely get captured by running outside, but how does he know that two of his carpenter friends are still left in here, not three? Like, do they have walkie-talkies and they're just like, hey, I just got out. There's only three of you left. It's just a thought I had while running through here. But next up, we need to run out here and climb these vines, which I have to say are much more pronounced in the 3DS version. In the N64 version, these look like any other vines, and again, look like they cannot be climbed. Despite the fact that the rest of the building is not covered in vines, it looks like just a detailed choice. But our next area we need to go to is actually into this room, and this is another place where a carpenter is being held. But like I was saying about the Gerudo guards, you can use Deku Nuts to fight them properly. When they go into that stance, you can throw a Deku Nut at them, and it allows you to basically just get a free jump slash on them, doing a ton more damage than you would do if you were just randomly slashing at them. And honestly would probably be my biggest suggestion when you're actually trying to fight the Gerudo guards, because otherwise they're gonna block most of your attacks. Thanks, boy, you're fantastic. I'm Saburo, the carpenter. Have you seen our boss, boy? He's probably worried about me. I have to get back to him immediately. One more of our workers is still a prisoner, so please save him. And this is the one point in this, I was going to call it a dungeon. This isn't a dungeon. But in this fortress where we actually had to follow the carpenter back out to where we entered that room, because we need to go into this room next. And I actually want to talk more about why this place is pretty irritating. Despite the fact that you can see that if you know what you're doing, you can get through here pretty quickly. But the reason it's irritating is because a lot of these rooms look the same, as you can see from me just running through here. And there's not any detailed map to actually help you navigate this place, making it kind of difficult to know where you're actually going if you're not following a guide or something like that. And that would probably be the most irritating thing about this. The other thing is, if the guards see you, no matter where you are, they will send you back to that room that we were in at the very beginning. And that could also be seen as very irritating because it halts your progress and makes you run through the whole stealth section again. But there's actually a way in this hallway, or in any room that you have walls, that you could kind of cheat a little bit to see the guards. If you crouch down into this shield pose next to the wall and rotate your camera, you can just kind of see through the wall. It's super funny, in my opinion, that you could just be like, yep, the guard's right there, and you could just see them walk all the way away, using the shield as just like a way to kind of flip the camera into the wall so you can see. This definitely is not intended, by the way, but it is a way to make stealthing through here a little bit easier, so you can actually time when you want to jump out to shoot the guard instead of trying to predict when they are walking down the hallway, which I don't know how you would really do effectively. But with them right about there, I want to jump out and we are just going to shoot that guard. And this guard right here is actually the most annoying one of the guards, in my opinion, because it's the only one that you actually have to get by in order to get to the last carpenter, which is right down this hallway. But I've been caught by that guard more than once, and again, they send you back to beginning. But honestly, this is the room that is the easiest to get to from the beginning, because from the jail cell, you could just long shot to the treasure chest and jump directly to this section of the fortress, making it really easy to get back to. But while we are fighting this last Gerudo guard, I want to talk about them a little bit more as I just kind of slash at them wildly, which you can see sometimes works. But the Gerudo guard are probably the hardest regular enemies that we have fought so far for a couple of different reasons. One, you can see how agile they are. They're doing backflips and front flips and avoiding a lot of attacks, making them really difficult to actually hit. And another reason they are difficult to fight is the fact that they are dual wielding scimitars, which basically allows them to block and parry a lot of your attacks, which you have seen. They also have the most health of any regular enemy we have seen, with 20 hearts, which actually ties them with Morpha, which is the Water Temple's dungeon boss, which is super funny to think about that these regular guards have the same amount of health as a temple boss. But the other thing that makes them difficult is they don't do a lot of damage per hit. They only do about half a heart. But because they're so agile and quick, they can rack up a lot of damage on you very quickly if you are not careful about avoiding them while they are attacking. I was afraid you were going to forget about me. Now I'm free. Thanks. I'm Shiro, the Carpenter. For rescuing me, I'm going to tell you something interesting about the desert that I overheard the Gerudo talking about. They said in order to cross the haunted wasteland, you need the Eye of Truth. The Colossus is on the far side of the wasteland. Okay, now I'm going back to my tent near the Gerudo Valley. So drop by sometime. You may find something helpful there. Bye! I've seen your fine work. To get past the guards here, you must have good thieving skills. I used to think all men except the great Ganondorf were useless. But now that I've seen you, I don't think so anymore. The exalted Noboru, our leader, put me in charge of this fortress. Noboru is the second in command to the great Ganondorf, king of the Gerudo thieves. Her headquarters are in the Spirit Temple, which is at the end of the desert. Say, you must want to become one of us, eh? All right, then, you're in from now on. Take this. With it, you will have free access to all areas of the fortress. So, for freeing the 4 Carpenters, we get the Gerudo token. And this is the item I was talking about earlier that makes it a lot easier to actually explore the fortress. Basically, using this token means that, or having this token means that the Gerudo will no longer try to capture you whenever they see you. So it makes it a lot easier to actually run around and have free reign of the fortress at large. But as we are running around, I actually want you to listen to the music here during the daytime, because it's probably one of my favorite songs of the game, and it would be a crime not to let you listen to it while we're simply running around and trying to get the one thing that I actually want to get within the fortress right now. It's just such a lively song, and it's not hard to tell why it's a lot of people's favorite. And in fact, I've seen a lot of tutorials on how to play this song on the guitar, and it's so cool every time I see it. because it's just such a fun song. Also, the way you're supposed to get this treasure chest, because you're not supposed to get it the way that we got it, but you can come up here and shoot it very easily with the long shot. Or from over there, you can see that Navi is kind of dancing around that section um, while flashing our glowing green. You can use the Scarecrow song there in order to summon Pierre and use him as a hook shot or long shot point as well in order to get the piece of heart that is up there. But with that being said, that's basically everything there is to do right now in the Gerudo Fortress and the surrounding area with the Carpenters and everything. So I think we are going to end this episode here. So I hope that everyone enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Next time, we head out to the Haunted Wastelands to see if we can get to the Spirit Temple. But until then, happy adventuring.